Welcome back to INF People. Today we're going to talk about the characters in Final Fantasy VII and the way they subvert expectations. I just made a video about like how Final Fantasy VII changed my life and about Cloud Strife, how he's an INFP. I didn't really talk that in depth about him. I'm planning on making a character profile for Cloud soon. So today I just want to talk about how Final Fantasy VII subverts expectations. So all the characters in Final Fantasy VII, and a lot of times, especially back then, the characters in JRPGs in general are usually archetypes. And just like the MBTI is those, all the different personality types are archetypes. In the temperaments also, those are all archetypes. So there's like certain archetypes in role playing games and not even just in role playing games, but in stories and adventure stories and things like that in general that Final Fantasy VII really subverted. So first, let's talk about the main character, Cloud Strife, and Barrett Wallace. So those are the first two characters that you have in the game when you're playing, and so usually in these kind of games, like role playing games, you have like different roles. Like so, you have like maybe you have like a tank and you have like a healer, or you have a damage dealer, or like a ranged fighter or something like that. So maybe you have like a damage dealer that's up close, fighting up close and personal, and then you have one that's far back, either like shooting magic or shooting guns or something like that. And then you have like a tank who's like this big guy who's in the mix and just soaking up damage and being able to stay alive for your team. And then you have a healer. So usually the tank character is like this big burly kind of character, and he's the one who's like in the mix, in the fray, just taking all the damage so that your team can stay alive. And then like you'll have like some kind of ranged fighter who uses whatever, like whether it's guns or spells or something like that, and they can do damage from a distance. And usually that character is either a female or like a smaller male character, definitely smaller than the tank. But one thing that gets subverted right away when you're first playing the game is that Cloud Strife is this like slight character. He's a small guy. Who even the other character Barrett even mentions, like how he calls him skinny all the time. That's another reason I identify with him, because I'm a smaller. I have a smaller frame, so I always like Cloud because of that. And um and uh, but 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 Cloud is the one who's in the fray. Like he's the one. He has the giant sword, even though he's this small dude, and he's the one who's attacking up close. While Barrett is like this big, husky guy, but he has a gun arm and he's fighting from far away. So that's a subverted expectation right there. Like it looks weird to see the small guy attacking the enemies from up close, and being able to take damage and be up there like that, and then the big guy shoot him from far away. It flips the expectations on its head. So you would think that the big guy would be in close, fighting up close like that. So that kind of turns that archetype on its head. And then with the two main female characters, Eris and Tifa, I'm still going to just call her Eris, even though I know the English translations call her Aerith now, but I'm just used to calling her Eris from playing the game way back when. So those two, when you look at their character models, like if you ever played a game like that or like watched anime or something, you see Tifa's character model, and she's like kind of like scantily clad and like has the big bright eyes, and you look at her and you think, oh well, her personality is going to be like the really like cheery, super like let's go kind of character, and she's going to be like the one that's like bubbly and like really enthusiastic and stuff like that. And then you see Eris's character model, and she's got like this long flowing dress, and like her hair is all tidy and stuff like that, and like she is a magic user, so you think, oh well, she's gonna be like the super serious, like maybe like quiet or shy magic caster, who is like really like spiritual and like just like the I mean she is spiritual in the game, but That's another thing that is kind of subverted. So, but when you actually play the game, you see that Tifa is the serious, conservative one, and the one that's more reserved. Even though she's like dressed in a way that is not reserved at all, but her personality is very different than the way she looks. So your expectations are just turned on their head. Like, oh, so this is the one that's like the serious, reserved one that is trying to get Cloud to like like be more serious and be more and like like shoulder responsibility and stuff like that and like care about things that you're supposed to care about, like the planning and stuff like that. And then Eris, the one that looks like the more conservative and shy one, she's the one that's outgoing and bubbly. It's just funny, like, because those things back then, especially, the character models were like a way to show you what the personality was like. Like they would draw you would have the art style, or you would draw the character in a way that showed their personality, but they flipped all that stuff on its head, and I always thought that was really cool about Final Fantasy VII. I forgot to show you in the last video. Like, I just recorded these back to back. That I have my Cloud Strife Starry Night shirt on right now. So yeah, but yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say about that. Next time when I talk about the character profile with Cloud, I want to spend some more time thinking about it. But it's going to be about how Cloud is a classical anti-hero, and that's another subversion that Final Fantasy VII had in the story, like having a hero who was like moody and broody and like very quiet and introverted. That's something that's a little bit different with Japan. That kind of when I first played the game, I was like, oh, this is so different than anything I've seen in the West. The hero's always like optimistic and cheery and like outgoing, and then Cloud was like this completely different kind of hero. And we'll talk about like what it means to be a classical anti-hero. Like, now when we say anti-hero, we mean people like Wolverine, like these people who are like kind of hardcore and not the kind of hero you expect. But like the classical anti-hero is just something that goes against what the classical hero was, and we'll talk about that in the next video. So yeah, guys, thanks for listening to me. See you guys next time, and peace and love.